for. And probably going to need that mid lane more dependent, or not. They get the Bane here, which is a bit peculiar. We talked about what the possible shortcomings were for the Chen-Lycan duo. Bane, typically when we see to hang around the mid lane and make their advantage known there. Does this make things a bit scary for the Lycan though, Scant? I mean, or is Bane going to have to be stuck by his side now in the laning phase?
Well, Bane does set up for Chen. That's quite nice for the ganks. There's
true.
also, if Lycan, for whatever reason, is against just an offlaner, Bane will do fine to protect the Lycan. The major concern is if there's that aggressive lane against the Lycan, I don't think Bane's... I think you're exactly right. Bane's not going to really do well against the aggressive lane. Maybe Bane then switches to the mid lane to put pressure there to try and pull heroes away from the aggressive lane.
We'll see. Fantastic Five, I'm thinking like maybe a, I don't know, Spirit Breaker if they need someone to kind of be a brute force bruiser. I tickled the name Undying before, but you know, building on top of that, they already have the hefty right click potential between the Venge and Queen of Pain here. Maybe you look at Navi's push lineup and you get ways to outspam and clear out. So I'm curious to see if they look to go down that road. Yol, as we know, being one of the more poorer support players, is a Chen player himself, so I'm sure he might know what the counters are. I mean, I'd say like maybe you go get a bounty hunter and mess with him in the jungle, which it could give you that early advantage, but if it doesn't work out, bounty hunter's not good against group up and push. So
yeah, it's like, I mean, if you go all the way back to TI4, what ended up being Deathball meta, Cloud9 did that, actually. Like, in a context of I mean, they didn't actually... I think they ended top 8 in the tournament, but there were 1 or 2 games where they beat the Deathball by picking Bounty Hunter and, like, going underneath it. Like, just being so aggressive before it even starts. And I think you're exactly right. Like, it requires the execution to work out. So it's a bit of a risk in and of itself, because if you pick it and then you don't get underneath them, then you're one hero down when they start pushing you, and it's a bit of a joke. But Fantastic Five just going for the gyrocopter here, which... We did say in the previous game, I think game 2, where Na'Vi went for the all-in push strategy, Gyro was going to be a good pick there. Although it turned out Na'Vi actually destroyed them that game, 20 minutes. So, I mean, Gyro maybe like didn't have enough support early on in that game, and already slightly different setup here in terms of the Venge and the Queen of Pain. Pretty active early. Pretty Fantastic Five look like they have a very good lane dominating early killing lineup, which is kind of what they need to have, I think, to get underneath the Na'Vi push.
So what does it say, though, about the lineup already? Is this for certain now support Vengeful Spirit? I mean, we're banking on the mid lane Queen of Pain, Gyro to take what we imagine being the safe lane farm, unless they do indeed push forward with being an aggro lane into the Lycan and have the Gyrocopter go up there. Otherwise, it's just a trusty, I guess, support Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah, I mean, they won the last game with the aggressive tri-lane farming Venge, and they are against the Lycan, so it's not clear to me why they would, like, there's no reason they can't do that again if they want to.
Okay.
I guess they don't know, the one thing is they don't know Navi's offlaning yet, and it might be that if you run an aggressive tri-lane, you end up, like, in an unfavorable 1v1, but that's also part of why you pick the Gyro then, because Gyro's got very few unfavorable 1v1s that exist in the game.
Tiny was the pickup here from Na'Vi for their 4th grab now, and could be typically good on his own in the mid lane, but against the Queen of Pain, you know, it could be a bit sketchy there. And Fantastic Five still have plenty of wiggle room to work with, and they dip into a Bat Rider pickup now. So they now have great lockdown for the Lycan and good catch, and not too many ways to really stop the Bat Rider, unless you're talking Bane to be able to get off a quick sleep or something. Outside of the extra healing power from Chen, it could be tricky for them to stop this Bat Rider from getting what he needs.
I'm just wondering what Dejira's playing, because Lycan and Tiny are 2 of his main heroes. I somehow feel like he'll play Lycan, because I just like don't... It feels like Shadow feels like more of a Tiny player to me than a Lycan player.
Yeah.
It's maybe something that Fantastic Five didn't see coming, the Tiny pick, because those are heroes that Dejira usually plays both of them. That said, I do feel like Tiny puts them even further into that same position where, as the draft size is up, it feels a lot like there's the Fantastic Five are going to like win the early aggression, and then Na'Vi just can't push, or they're not, and then when Na'Vi push, they're going to be pretty hopeless. it's starting to become quite polarized the way the draft looks to me.
Yeah. Fantastic Five will rid of the Lena here, one of the options, I guess, as a... Well, no, it is a bit peculiar here because I wager Navi was going to be going for the off lane here. Fantastic rid of Alina. Unless they're thinking this Tiny is going to be utilized in some sort of off-lane setup, maybe some pull shenanigans. Or maybe they just don't want to have to deal with the burst against their gyrocopter or something.
5 seconds remaining.
That's actually a good point because Axmo has played the off-lane Tiny. I've seen him play it, and it does go reasonably well with the Bane because if you get those Nightmare setups, it toss people back.
Oh,
so it's a possibility that it is off-lane Tiny.
That's true. That's true. Well, if you are going to be going down that road, then Zeus. They go back for the Zeus, something that was trusty to him at the start of the day and in their previous series, but they go back to it here to round things out in game number 5, which does lead us to believe this indeed will be an off-lane Tiny. And now we have Zeus in the mid lane matchup against the Queen of Pain. Fantastic Five have the luxury of the last pick here, and we'll see what their response is going to be. Still hefty push, lots of spam. Now huge burst coming out from Zeus.
10 seconds.
And it makes it very difficult for the bat to blink in. The last grab is going to be the Spirit Breaker here from Fantastic Five. So, lots of pressure.
Yeah, the dynamic is completely unchanged. It's what's the timing's going to be for Lycan and Chen? When Chen gets mech, when Lycan gets Necro 3, are they going to be in the right position to just go and barrel down the lanes, kill all the towers? Or are Fantastic Five going to have, weaken them enough early on that the timings are sufficiently delayed? And honestly, right now, I feel like a lot rides on how Fantastic Five lane this. I think they should be running the aggressive tri-lane, yeah. I think they should be pressuring the Lycan because even if Chen's at the lane all the time, Lycan and Chen and Bane is weaker than what they've got to offer with the Gyrocopter, the Venge, and the Spirit Breaker.
10 seconds remaining.
The way they've assigned it already doesn't really give any new clues except that it still could just be a solo off-lane bat. So I'm also just curious to see as we get underway to game number 5 of our BTS Europe Grand Finals between Navi and Fantastic Five. Already early rotation here from Sonico. Gets a very subtle ward here to scout out if Fantastic Five are either going to maybe smoke move through and just be a no-show in the bottom lane, or if just their off-laner wants to kind of get that early advantage. But it is the former here as Fantastic Five. We saw this from the first couple of games. They love their early 5-man smokes. This time no smoke, but they are looking to pressure this bottom rune. No indication quite yet, it appears, to see how they're going to look to lane it up. Nothing funny really in the item department either, so we'll see what Fantastic
Yeah, Sonico
Five.
definitely expects the aggressive tri-lane. That's what that ward's about. And looks like Fantastic Five keeping their options open. Not completely decided on how they want to lane it. They don't want to get dodged.
Oh, they get a very deep
And look at
sentry ward.
that. It's to block the camp, to stop the tiny tossing creeps to the mid lane.
Yes, of course. Good heads up there from Fantastic Five, recognizing this will be the Axmo offlane. Tiny, not going to give him the opportunity for any sort of pull shenanigans here. He does not have a sentry himself, so he'll have to make do with just the old way of kind of making Tiny work. And with their laning setup, as it appears, Vengeful heading towards the bottom. Sadoy is just going to have the time of his life, and they will just keep it as a dual setup for now, as Yol will be joining in hand, it looks like, with Ghost here at the top lane. So mild aggro lane.
Yeah, and that's... I think that's actually a reasonable setup too, because the thing about the Spirit Breaker is you can also charge into the mid lane, and so you're going to want your Banes to be mobile, moving between the lanes. Your Chen's going to be at the jungle all the time, and so this way you actually spread the aggression, and you make Na'Vi constantly have to like think twice about where's the next kill attempt going to be.
Already this Tiny being put in check, so we're expecting him to have a bit of a slow start here without access to that pull, and he shows it here. Top lane, Yol kind of creeping his way in, but we'll see what kind of opportunities he hopes for. If Sonico oversteps himself and gets caught with one too many stacks, it could be trouble, but he did get the early wand already on his Bane. He's got 4 charges saved up, so always will have that in his back pocket. Dityara doesn't have a wand yet himself. Could decide to buy one here, but in the meantime, Bat is just going to be happy to kind of roll forward and get easy XP, and Na'Vi are just going to have to keep wondering where Yol's going to be if not seen on the map. So has that mentality factor to kind of keep them guessing.
Yeah. From Yol's perspective, he needs the level 2. Obviously, they don't know which skill he took at level 1. It's well done by Sneeko to actually pull away the attempt at a pull there. I think that's very important that Fantastic 5 aren't getting these pulls off. If they are, it's really going to cripple Ditya.
Uh-oh. 4 stacks here possibly. Yol could commit for a charge with this one? No. Oh, no, he doesn't even have the level.
Nice.
Yeah, hoping for a bash, I
Yeah.
suppose. Getting close to
That's
that
the
level
problem.
2.
If he was level 2 there, I'm pretty sure he would have gone for it, like, just to see what happens.
Has it now. And was going to be heading towards this top level 2 or minute 2 rune where Artstyle's already going to be getting it. Charges out.
There's the
Artstyle will
charge.
grab up the bounty. Shadow under pressure here from BZZ. There's going to be the kill. The vision provided from that charge. Artstyle trying to sweep in to get a bit of a response. Gets the net connection onto BZZ, but Queen of Pain a bit too fast.
Artstyle's getting owned by the Spirit Breaker. He was 4 HP. That was like 4 hits from Spirit Breaker, including a bash. And showing its dominance. And that's what I was talking about. Charge into the mid lane, and usually when you're against the Spirit Breaker, your mid laner needs supports that could TP in and like instantly save or stand behind and protect. But they can't do that because they need the supports to be helping the safe laner. That's the weakness of having the Lycan as your safe lane. If it was a Gyrocopter or something stronger, more self-sustaining, different story. But charge on Sneeko now, and that turn rate with the Napalm making it really difficult for him to actually get out.
A little bash right there for you. He hits a Fairy Fire. Can we get another RNG bash? No, we cannot. So Nico will make it out back to his fountain safely.
It's still a win. It's still a win for Fantastic 5 because the Lycan gets very little in the lane whenever he's alone. Lucky for him, the creeps are going to be pushing in, but Bane has to run all the way back now, and no boots anytime soon for this Bane, I think.
And as the mid lane matchup continues here, Zeus 12-1 to Queen of Pain's 15-5. Now under a bit of pressure here from Artstyle. Net, and a little shockwave there to kind of make her feel it. Axmo, you know, this is something we've been seeing from a couple of the games now. Not looking too good in his lane, and he's like, yeah, what's happening over here? I got a combo, you know, I got enough mana for a stun and a toss. Maybe we can find an opening. Steps away, says, oh, he's back. Looks so close, so easy of a target here. BZZ just does not want to back. He's hoping for the bottle, which he gets now. So this is going to be an opportunity gone for poor little Tiny.
So far Artstyle not succeeding in any of his rotations. I mean, it's pretty difficult to gank the Quap even with the Troll creep, unless you have the Troll and the Centaur, but he had the Troll and the Satyr.
Uh-oh.
He goes to the top lane now.
Yeah, they got the sleep set up, as mentioned in the draft, with the stun, shockwave, everything. Makes for easy kill on the Bat Rider.
That's pretty important. It's pretty important that there's not one-way traffic. Na'Vi don't want Fantastic 5 to be the ones making all the kills, getting all the early momentum, because then there really is that risk of them not getting to their timing. As things stand, Tiny's really not in a good position. And neither is Zeus after going down to another charge. So that's 2 deaths now to the Zeus. Tiny getting basically nothing. And Lycan is farming alright. Maybe a bit slower than he'd like to, but it's alright.
Nice sleep setup, allows the tower to be taken down from Ditya. Yol is already a charge out, looking to go to Sneeko, but they change course. And it looks like they're just not going to make this work out for now. Wolf's been kind of nipping at Yol here, and he does not like that as a support. Lots of damage coming out from them, and plus that bonus perk that was added on these Wolves, it just makes it all the more difficult to really engage onto this Lycan. So he's able to step back, and anything going well for Na'Vi at this point is just going to make him that much better. We were expecting Fantastic 5 to build around a lineup that was going to trump Na'Vi in the early game and maybe even punish them for being so greedy while getting a jungling Chen. But Chen's doing great. He's getting lots of freaking farm here. He's 3rd in CS. He's near the top in net worth. Na'Vi's got to be pretty satisfied.
It's the Zeus who's struggling for it, and especially now that Queen of Pain's got her ulti on 9. The Zeus is going to die every time it gets charged. Right now it looks like Spirit Breaker focusing a charge onto the offlaner. Keep the Tiny down, but both of them... Yeah, actually, Queen of Pain just solo kills Zeus, so don't need Spirit Breaker. Spirit Breaker will go bites, and let's see if they can kill Axmo as well. Cancelling the charge at the last second.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, Axmo as well. He is pretty crippled. Level 3 going to be waved up right now. Fantastic 5 not afraid to show their pressure here. Art style already putting himself in position. Yol creeps in from behind, gets a nice deep secret shop ward in as they do engage for Sadoy. Tossed on back under the tower, gets his call down off. Yol approaches here. They're trying to make it go into art style, but they are outnumbered. And with Yol asleep, he can't contribute a whole lot. Now he is going to be easily isolated, trying to make a sneaky retreat up to the north. And look at this. He might actually find his way out from here. Oh, pump fakes the charge a bit and then gets caught by the net and killed. Okay. Yol just trying to create what little space is out there for the rest of his team, but like Sadoy getting caught under the tower before any sort of play was really set up.
It was a really good rotation from Artstar, actually. Usually Chens don't come with all their creeps to the opposite side of the map that early on. I guess he's already killed the tower, but you'd expect him to focus maybe on the mid lane next, and Sadoy was standing really far deep into the lane because it's safe for him to do that unless the Chens level all the creeps. If it was just the Bane and the Tiny, Venge, Spirit Breaker, and Jara are just going to kill them both, but Chen being in there with that early creep power making the difference. And Nico's actually smoking around here.
Ooh.
This is going to be another kill in Sadoy.
Yep. Man. Shadow gets charged up and taken apart that same moment. Bottom lane, Sadoy finished off, so Nico gets the last grab onto that one. Back and forth trade. A Zeus for a Sadoy gyrocopter. And we'll see.
I don't know. It's...
BZZ scouts out Axmo here, leads in with a Shadow Strike, and now Yol gets his charge follow-up, and as Venge is trying to turn the corner, Arstyle will help out with his creeps, but not going to be able to save the Tiny here.
So I would say, considering the fact that it's, you know, Fantastic 5 want to be doing really well right now. They're a bit ahead, but Na'Vi are probably doing better than I thought they'd be doing right now. There's the issue of the Tiny and the Zeus having very, very little farm each. In fact, they're both in the bottom 4 most farmed heroes in the game right now. But they're not getting nothing. They're not. I wouldn't say it's yet at the point where Navi's shut down and they're not going to hit their timings. That can still happen.
Is it urgent right now at all for Na'Vi to maybe make an early approach towards the Roche? I mean, Lycan has his medallion complete. Is it necessary to maybe move on and still commit for something like the Vlads before that seems necessary? Or it could be ever so scary against something like the Bat Rider. Was still working towards his blink, though. Needs a bit more time. Is currently actually moving into the enemy territory to kind of find that extra bit of farm.
They're going to smoke now, so this might be the rush play. I don't think it's the rush play.
Tower is under attack.
But it's some kind of big gank rotation with the Wolves discard in front, and this is 3 heroes and a whole bunch of creeps running into the enemy jungle.
Yeah. Maybe like roundabout, see if you can get someone along the way. If you find nothing, turn back for Roche. Kind of
the enemy smoke's coming too, and a cooldown at the rush pit could be huge.
Here it is. Sadoy's got it. He pops it right at the choke point. He'll up with a sonic wave on through. Artstyle's going to be taken down. Ditya bump to the high ground. He's stranded and trapped, trying to chew his way out with the Quelling Blade. Will have a TP, but no! It will be canceled. The path is now clear. He chops down the last tree, but oh, it looks like there's actually no free way home. He's going to get burped up. And that is Fantastic 5. Beautiful timing, beautiful setup right at the Roche as Na'Vi were trying to sneak in and get it done.
That's very, very bad for Na'Vi. That's going to put Batrider close to Blink. That's, again... Yeah, it's really not what Na'Vi needed. And to some extent, you might say they're unlucky. Well, this charge onto no, it's going to be cancelled. Like, they did smoke into the enemy jungle looking for fights. And then it looked like they were like, oh, no one's here. I guess we'll go rush. But it is also a bit lazy because, sure, you didn't run into enemy heroes. The reason you didn't run into them is because they were grouping up to contest you at the rush because they expected you to go straight to the rush. And if you're Na'Vi, you know that you're not going to win the full-on fight. So, you know, I feel like they sort of rationalized it. Oh, we didn't see anyone. Guess rush is fine. And that's maybe a lazy justification for going into the rush pit that early.
Yeah, not really deducting who's on the map and around. And unfortunately, this one came back to bite him in the ass, and it's not the best time to allow these kind of flubs. Game 5, grand final after all, and for it they will be punished. And with that comes big rewards here for the Fantastic 5. You're looking at a Ghost Bat Rider here who is just a couple hundred away from finishing out his Blink Dagger. It's not the best timing ever on a Bat Rider. It's been a bit of a slow roll from here, but just another wonderful tool for them to have when the fight breaks out. And what the hell? It looked like he was he slept, but still
He did.
made the
Night-netted
TP.
fountain.
Wow.
Yeah, these things happen sometimes. It's to do with cost points, I think.
So close.
But yeah, that's gonna finish Blink, and Spirit Breaker getting level 6. Remember, this is a support Spirit Breaker with the Urn, and now all the levels that he needs. And Quap not too far away from Orchid. The Gyro is like a little bit behind, but going straight into S and Y, not gonna be a Helm of Dom game. It's the intent is very clear. They want to just keep the momentum up, and if Fantastic Five actually going on to Ditya, going back now, retreating. If they keep the momentum up, then it just like reduces the timing. Like Ditya, I look at him, he's actually skipping the Vlads here. He's going straight into the Necros because he also knows that the timing on his Necro 3 is huge in this game. As soon as they have the mech and the Necro 3, that's when they can try and start threatening. And that's each time that Fantastic Five force them to group up or pick someone off, that's going to slow down those timings. And that's really the tension in the draft right now.
And now Fantastic Five looking to use the timing of their Batrider Blink here as they smoke up and swarm around this bottom lane. Na'Vi are not going to be in sight for the latch, but they are instead going to make a trade themselves. They have a hell of an army here. I mean, look at this freaking thing. This is a full Chen pack, wolves and everything, muscling their way through this tier 1. Glyph's going to be popped out from one side. Na'Vi already using theirs. And all along the way, Batrider looking to maybe see if he can catch anyone at the cross point. They will see the Batrider at this, but the push continues on here. It looks like for Fantastic Five, while Na'Vi kind of second guessing where they're, want to commit at this point. It looks like Ditya's going to take the top lane for farm, but the rest of their team waiting to see if maybe anyone from Fantastic Five approach them or not.
Tower trades are really not the best for Na'Vi right now. Their draft wants to be able to get towers so quickly that you can't get the trade, and it looks actually like it's Fantastic Five getting 2 towers, or Na'Vi only getting 1 tower there. The problem is that Na'Vi has recognized that if they're split up, Fantastic Five are really strong in terms of picking them off. The Bat Blink, the Spirit Breaker charge, Queen of Pain, really mobile, now with the Orchid, which they don't know about. So Na'Vi feel forced to group up, but they don't have the items that they want before they're going to group up. So it's... Well, there's one of them. There's the mech on Chen, but it's an awkward spot to be in if you're Na'Vi because you'd want to have to group. You ideally want to group up only in 5 minutes time, and unfortunately the composition and items on Fantastic Five sort of forcing Na'Vi to group up a little bit early.
We'll see if they try to make something out of at least just getting the mech in the meantime, and try to at least press down the tier 1 bottom lane or get some more gold going across the team and across the board, because it's either that or just kind of pull attention away from the Lycan so he can muscle forward into his Necro book and just kind of make some split objectives happen. I mean, watching Ditya Raw play from back in the day on Power Rangers, this guy has brought back games on the brink of defeat just on rat play alone. So.
Oh, hasted bats. They catch Outstar here. Actually, the whole team is here. He needs to be careful. Ghostic needs to be careful.
Oh, yeah, he's dead. Wow.
He wasn't careful. He was not careful.
No, he was not. He tried to cross the street and got netted up and absolutely dismantled there in the mid lane by Na'Vi. And now without the bat to worry about too much, Na'Vi confidently kind of strut on forward here. And Roche is up. I wonder if it's something they consider giving it a second try. Looks like no. Looks like they'll just kind of take their business elsewhere. Well, I figured it might be an opportunity for them to kind of move in there and get it done without having to fear of the bat.
Yeah, they remember what happened last time, and that wasn't about the bat. That was just about the Gyrocopter and Queen of Pain.
Yeah.
They do see the Gyrocopter arriving at the top lane. Maybe that signals something to them, but I don't know. They'll be hesitant about it. I think Fantastic Five, on the other hand, are feeling a bit frustrated there. Like, the way Bat dies, it's like, this is not the narrative they expected. They didn't expect Na'Vi to be grouped up this early, because it doesn't make sense for Na'Vi to be grouped up this early, but... So credit to Na'Vi recognizing that staying grouped is what they need to do right now. At the same time, they do lose out in the farm department, because they have to be clumped together in one place or 2 places maximum. You'll never see Na'Vi in 3 places at once for pretty much the rest of the game.
Na'Vi on the move. Phase boots on the Tiny here. Is that normal? I mean, for this kind of position, I guess he's in. I mean, any sort of mobility you can get a hold of. It's not your blink. It's not your treads for the attack speed. I mean, now he's lassoed up. He will be pulled back. And oh man, Sonic Wave follow-ups there, and he just gets annihilated. And now the rest of Na'Vi are in for the same fate potentially. Ditya shows up, but might be too late for him. His shapeshift utilized to make a hasty retreat. He's looking for some sort of potential pickoff now that Shadow has showed up, but it's just the two of them. And it looks like Fantastic Five will get what they need and just get the hell out.
The Orchid on the Chen doing very important work there because Chen didn't get ulti off, and if Chen does get ulti off, possibly actually Na'Vi can get something out of that fight. I mean, they still kill the Queen of Pain, which she's the richest person in the game, so if they're going to kill only one person, it's the best person they can possibly kill. And Zeus has actually managed to find Netherlands, nearly has level 11 for the level 2 ulti, so starting to recover somewhat. There's actually a charge onto Zeus now, but I don't know what this is about, and Yol's the one who needs to run away now.
Gets the safety bump back from that flame break there. Zeus quick to pull out the Thunderbolt and shut down that charge. Will make Yol think twice. And now
it's going to be the BKB timing for Fantastic Five now, because their previous fights, if Quap and Jara have BKBs, that's just like a wipe and no one in their team's going to die. So they're both building into it now, and Jara actually even skipping out, finishing S&Y, just like recognizing that right now Navi's lineup does very, very little if you've got BKBs.
And maybe just a simple Fiend's Grip, but there'll be plenty to stop him from being able to get anything off. So in due time, Fantastic Five may have a hard-hitting fight that there will be no capable response from Na'Vi unless they can somehow scrap together some necessary last-minute farm here. But I don't foresee it. Axmo's trying to get maybe a Blink Dagger together. He's got 1,400 gold, but still needs more time for that. Zeus has got his Aether Lens, which is great, but still needs a lot more steps along the way. And a Necro Book level 1 on Ditya. So Na'Vi needs a lot more time before they can hit any sort of necessary window. Well, there's the level 2 Necro Book.
Yeah, he's not actually too far from the Necro 3, so I think they're just about fine, Na'Vi, actually, in terms of hitting their window. I think that the problem for them now is going to come when those BKBs come up for Fantastic Five. And if it's possible for Na'Vi to get Necro 3 online before the BKBs are up, or at least, well, the BKB on Jara is already up, before the Quap's BKB is up, that might be a timing for Na'Vi to exploit the map a bit to get some objectives, but it's going to be a very small window, because Ditya is a couple hundred from his Necro 3, and Queen of Pain is only about 1,000 away from her BKB.
Gotta give credit to Ditya. He's been a pest with these wolves, constantly kind of seeking them out for a bit of attention, getting intel, and guiding out the runes if necessary. Looks like Fantastic Five have made their move with the BKB now online for the mighty Gyrocopter. They're going to move into the Roche Pit. All the meanwhile, Spirit Breaker just creating space on the Space Cow up here in the top lane. Will hand over his own life, but now he buys back, feeling that the engagement is soon to come. Na'Vi in the pit. There's wolves in the pit as well. They're eating a lot of damage. Here comes Na'Vi. Quick on the scene is going to be Ghost. He gets the grab on a Ditya, pulls him to the high ground. Oh no! A blast from the past for him. Aegis was snagged out from Quap, is going to be used. He's going for the TP, but he's not going to be able to make it out. Ditya is taken out of the fight. And it looks like for Fantastic Five, they lose 3. BZZ, one of the last to stand. Blinks, makes a run for it. What do you think, though? Is it good enough for Na'Vi to kind of get the best of the fight? They don't get the Roche or the Aegis, but outside of losing Ditya, is this good enough? They get their Blink? Yeah.
It's an absolute mess for Fantastic Five, and they're very lucky Na'Vi didn't get the last hit on the Roche or the Aegis, because that would have been like the entire game turned around. If Na'Vi got the Roche and the Aegis, then Fantastic Five are in a much weaker position. Like I think the issue really is Fantastic Five thought, okay, fine, Spirit Breaker went to make space, we get the trade-off, we're gonna get Rush, but they don't have, they don't have Medallion for fast Rush. They've got the Venge Wave level 2, that's something, but Gyrocopter doesn't have lifesteal, and the Gyrocopter, I don't know if you noticed, was on like a sliver of HP when Na'Vi arrived. That was all Rush. Like, Jara was just tanking Rush the whole time, and Lycanthrope arrives, and there's like a 200 HP Gyrocopter just standing there, like, okay, fine, I'll hit you. That's okay with me.
Just a bit overconfident with how much damage they could dish out to Roche that fast, I guess, and it certainly made them pay for it. Charge in from Yol will get him kind of placed in a little nugget in the tree. As you'll retreat back out, but it's pressure back the way of Fantastic Five here to make a bit of recovery. They still hold the net worth advantage and XP advantage by quite a bit, but they got to be a bit more persuasive in their gameplay if they kind of want to maintain this significant lead. Taking advantage of the window while they had their BKBs here. Now down to 9 seconds. I'm sure that's not how Sadoy wanted to kind of make his debut. I mean, this spectator's even feeling it right now. But
yeah, I don't know what that comment's about, but it's Guardian Greaves on Chen. So Na'Vi have essentially all the items they want. This is the timing they're planning for in their draft, when they're just like gonna mess up and push things. Unfortunately for them, Fantastic Five are sort of at a key timing as well with those BKBs, and could take them on, could trade with pushes. There's no way for Na'Vi to dip back into the rush put because that's already happened. So I think Fantastic Five can sort of force Na'Vi to fight them right now. Of course, for Fantastic Five, if Na'Vi take the fight and somehow win it, it's like a nightmare for Fantastic Five. It's really, really bad for them.
I mean, we could end up coming back to that former Roche fight and saying that was the tipping point for Na'Vi if that's how the game ends up going. And we'll see, though. Na'Vi creeping forward here. They're going to get some counter ward play along the way here. But Fantastic Five not looking to back down yet. Now they get the vision. Are they looking to pursue? They are. Dive in from Axmo. Gets the combo off. Not enough to finish the Venge, though. A return fire from Magic Missile, and they're going to be taking down the Tiny, who has to be back now. And now the call down comes out from Sadoy, and it's an instant triple kill with that and the flak damage. Ditya is able to scrap together a kill for himself. Now looking for BZZ. The one-on-one matchup's going to be good for him. He gets a double as he tries to make it away. His shapeshift finishes, and he's charged up with a homing missile and everything even coming. It doesn't matter. He goes down. They end up splitting it. A 3... Oh, that's right. With the buyback, of course, with Tiny, a dieback for him. It is turning into a 5-for-3 trade. Big advantage for Fantastic Five.
What do you know?
But
it actually makes a big impact if there's a gyrocopter alive during the fight rather than just like dying immediately as the fight starts. He did most of the work for his team actually, and that's the difference maker. At the rush fight, the gyro died almost instantly. At this fight, gyrocopter barely got touched and finishes the SNY now. And I like the approach there from Fantastic Five. They were quite cautious about it. The gyrocopter didn't commit the cooldown too early. Knowing that they should be winning these fights, but they need to take the right approach, and also very clearly aware that if they lose the fight, it's disastrous.
Yeah, being in a cautious position, but not fully retreating. Like, they knew that the time at the Roche Pit was, unfortunately, for them, a bit of a flub. Gyro, at the right health at the right time, should guide them into a successful team fight. And they were confident in that, and it shows it right there. They get the winnings they want, and now as they step back, they want to kind of ensure that this game is heavily in their favor, and they might even be able to force Na'Vi into very restricted leash, and they will be able to successfully grab hold of Ditya here, pull him back, and get the kill. This is a huge step forward for the Fantastic Five, in a troubled position for Na'Vi.
Yeah, he's got buyback, but he doesn't. That's not what he wants to use his gold on, because he's got another timing coming after the Necro 3, which will be a BKB, and if he has to buy back now, it's like, is he ever going to get to his next item? Would depend on his team winning fight. So that's I don't think Lycan buys back. I think it's early enough in the game that he spawns pretty quickly. They're just going to lose one tower for it.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
One more tower in the pocket here for Fantastic Five. We'll see. Na'Vi just doing what they can to kind of clear out the wave here. We'll probably get the tower into denied territory and contest it at that front. Nope, it will be taken down from Sadoy here. There's the swap back, but Axmo will be able to get off the stun. Eventually, he will get bursted down from BZZ, and now Soniko under the gun. He drops fast, then quickly Shadow. A triple suddenly for BZZ, and buybacks are going to have to be forced out from the Bane.
That was such a good recognition from Fantastic Five. They could see Ditya wasn't going to buy back, and so even though there's only a few seconds left on his respawn, they catch people out in that little gap, and it's not really useful. Okay, fine, he didn't buy back, he respawned, but now his allies are dead. It's, like, really good for Fantastic Five to capitalize exactly at that moment. Like, make sure they catch some people out.
Dire's middle
Suddenly,
barracks
Fantastic
has
Five are awarded with a full Rax takedown. And Na'Vi are just going to be stuck in a bit of a rut right now. Fantastic Five will step back, quickly move forward with their farm, and, well, we'll see. They can wait out this next Roche and kind of move the pace forward. What's the game plan now, Scant, for Na'Vi? I mean, you're looking at a grossly under-farmed team right now. I mean, Axmo was able to get his Blink Dagger together, but as we've seen already, even a Blink and Commitment combo is not going to be enough to burst anyone on this team down, really. And at that point, he ends up being rendered rather useless. And with BKBs online, Zeus is not going to be able to output a lot of damage. Where do you go from here?
I guess you try catch someone out of the Fiend's grip, but it's like they need to be alone, because if they're not alone, then you're not actually going to kill them. Other people can easily save. But yeah, there's not an easy plan for Na'Vi. They can't push down a lane. They probably aren't going to win a fight very easily. It's a very bad position for them. And Vengeful Spirit on top of that has picked up a medallion now, which means that the next time Rush comes up, Fantastic Five can actually take it down a lot more quickly, not risking Gyrocopter like tanking that much before. Gyrocopter actually also picking up the Demon Edge and the Helm of Dom, so has the sustain now if he goes into the Rush pit. And that's what's, yeah, I think Fantastic Five are going to wait for Rush. They're going to walk in and take it. I don't think Na'Vi have any way to contest that. And at that point, like pushing with the Aegis, it's going to require some kind of miraculous classic Na'Vi players. I think they actually, yeah, they backed up against the wall, and this is not where they want to be. This reminds me a lot of their game yesterday against Vega, the one that they lost, where they went for this kind of push strategy, missed their timing, and then just really couldn't play the game properly after that.
Well, they'll get what they can for now. It looks like little art style here was able to finish out his Greaves, and moving forward into a Vlad's here, trying to be that utility Chen, offering any additional bonus work to his team, to his creeps. But Fantastic Five here, not letting up and stalling out for too long. Could easily just kind of play the economy game on most of their map and the opponent's map, but they don't even want Na'Vi to get that kind of second life here with this Lycan whatsoever. So they take their advantage and they stick it right to Na'Vi. Already in the high ground here, Sadoy eats a stun, but pretty much shrugs it off easily. Brief save from Suniko, but now has to go into Fiend's grip. Gets a decent one off, but eventually just crumbles down, and we could be seeing the beginning of the end here, Scant. Na'Vi in a lot of trouble, already just have dropped down 3. Sadoy barely making it out with his life, but he is alive and well. Tier 3 is dropped. Rax is now exposed. Ditya Ra and Shadow, the lone survivors here on Na'Vi, are trying their best to draw the aggro elsewhere, but not a lot they can do.
Yeah, and it's that recognition from Fantastic Five that they got all these BKBs, there's nothing to be done, and Artstar's just gonna call it's like not Megas yet, not Rush yet, but that's why they missed their timing in this game, and that's it.
Congratulations though to Fantastic Five. They are your BTS Europe champions, the first BTS Europe, and they walk away, and what a run for these guys. I mean, like I said at the start of today's scan, I haven't even been able to cast any of their games. The only person who's casted any of their games here at BTS Europe was Cyclops, and Cyclops only through that whole bracket run. And then we get to see him in the final.